There's a rumble in your chest before you even see it. The deep, throaty growl of a V8 engine sounds like it's hungry for blood. You turn your head. Chrome glint, racing stripes, that unmistakable silhouette. It's a muscle car. Not just a car, but a declaration of rebellion forged in Detroit steel and gasoline dreams. America didn't invent speed, but it did give the world the muscle car, a blue-collar monster built to look mean and go faster than anything in its price range should. These machines weren't about refinement, they were about attitude, about burning rubber on Main Street, about power you could actually afford. So buckle up, here are the top 10 muscle cars of all time. Not just the fastest, not just the prettiest, but the ones that rewrote the rules and left tire marks on history. When you think of muscle cars, Buick probably isn't the first brand that comes to mind. That's your first mistake. The GSX Stage 1 was Buick's middle finger to the establishment, a 455 cubic inch brute that cranked out a mind-blowing 510 pound-feet of torque. That's right, more than a Hemi, more than a Chevelle. This thing was a torque monster in a three-piece suit. It came with functional hood scoops, fat stripes, and a 3.64 rear axle ratio that told everyone Grandma's Buick just turned into a drag strip demon. The GSX didn't sell like crazy. It wasn't flashy like the others. But for those who knew what was under the hood, it was pure muscle car royalty. The General Lee, the Moonshiner's Ride, a star of the street and the screen. The '69 Dodge Charger RT wasn't just about good looks, it came with real teeth. Under the hood, you could option it with the legendary 426 Hemi, but even the 440 Magnum V8 made sure you weren't left behind. With that long, low fastback profile and hidden headlights, it looked fast parked in your driveway. What made the Charger iconic, though, was its cultural legacy. It was the rebel car, the outlaw's weapon of choice. Whether you were a street car racer, a Dukes of Hazzard fan, or just someone who liked your muscle cars loud and proud, the Charger had your back. You can't talk about muscle cars without tipping your hat to the one that started it all. Pontiac's GTO wasn't the first car with a big engine, but it was the first to wrap that engine in attitude, market savvy, and a price tag the average Joe could afford. John DeLorean, before he went full cocaine-fueled lunatic, was the mastermind behind this beast. In 1965, the GTO came with a 389 cubic inch V8 pushing 360 horses, optional tri-power carb setup, and a vibe that screamed, "Try me." It became the blueprint everyone else followed. The GOAT wasn't just a car, it was a movement. It defined the 60s in chrome and fury. Take a fish, give it steroids. Now give it a 426 Hemi. You've got the '71 Cuda. This was Plymouth's middle finger to anyone who thought they couldn't go toe-to-toe with the big boys. The styling, pure menace. Shaker hood, quad headlights, aggressive fender gills that looked like scars on a Street Fighter. But it wasn't just bark. The Hemi Cuda could shred the quarter mile in under 14 seconds straight from the showroom floor. That's bananas for the early 70s. And because only a handful were made before the gas crisis and insurance clampdowns killed muscle cars, it's now one of the most valuable classics on the planet. It was short-lived, but legends don't need to last long. You've heard of the Z28, you've heard of the SS, but the ZL1 was the Camaro that got built when Chevy decided to break its own rules. Just 69 of them were made. Why? Because it was too insane for mass production. It came with an all-aluminum 427 V8 meant for drag racing. That engine alone cost more than most cars on the road. It was built under the radar, through COPO, Central Office Production Order, by dealers who knew how to work the system. What you got was a street-legal race car, a 500-plus horsepower beast that could outrun just about anything with a license plate. The ZL1 wasn't just fast, it was forbidden fruit, and that's why it became legendary. Don't let the brand fool you. Oldsmobile wasn't about pipe-smoking professors in tweed jackets, not in 1970. That year, they dropped the hammer. The 442 W30 wasn't just another GM clone, it was a brawler in disguise. With a 455 cubic inch V8, functional Ram air scoops, aluminum intake, and a reputation for embarrassing bigger names at the track, this thing punched way above its weight. It had style too. Striped hoods, red inner fenders, and a low rumble that said, "I could destroy you at any time, but I'm not in a hurry." It was a muscle car for grown-ups who still wanted to raise hell on the weekend. If you ever need to define peak muscle car era, just say 3 words: Chevelle SS 454. This wasn't just a fast car, it was a rocket in a tuxedo. The LS6 version came with 450 horsepower on paper, but everyone knew that number was criminally underrated. This car could put down over 500 horses with minor tuning, and still take your grandma to the grocery store. The dual stripes, the bulging cowl induction hood, the deep bass line from the dual exhaust, the Chevelle was the suburban dad's sleeper fantasy turned reality. It could tow your boat on a Friday, smoke a Mustang on Saturday, and look damn good doing it. If muscle cars had a Mount Rushmore, the Chevelle would be front and center. Here's what happens when Ford builds an engine too powerful for NASCAR and decides to drop it into a Mustang just to homologate it. The result? The Boss 429. You couldn't just stroll into any dealership and find one. These cars had to be hand-built. The 429 cubic inch V8 barely fit in the engine bay. It was so massive they had to modify the front end just to jam it in. This car was raw muscle with corporate rage behind it. Rated at 375 horsepower, try more like 500 in the right hands. And with its slick bodywork, functional hood scoop, and Boss badging, it was Ford's way of saying, "We're not here to play nice." The Boss 429 wasn't just rare, it was mythical. The Challenger was Mopar's late entry into the pony car war, but it came out swinging. 1970, the golden year, the RT model. You could order it with the 426 Hemi, the most feared engine in the land. 425 horsepower, 490 pound-feet of torque, and a top end that could leave Camaros, Mustangs, and even Corvettes in the dust. The design was all muscle, wide stance, mean grille, shaker hood, and enough Mopar flair to make it look like it came straight out of a comic book. Throw in high-impact colors like Plum Crazy or Go Mango, and you had a car that looked as wild as it drove. The Hemi Challenger wasn't just a car, it was an announcement. And that announcement was, "Get out of my way." This is it, the ultimate. The 1969 Charger Daytona wasn't built for your neighborhood drag strip. It was built to dominate NASCAR, and it did. With its massive rear wing and aerodynamic nose cone, it looked like something Batman might drive through a wind tunnel. Underneath, a 426 Hemi capable of sending this beast past 200 miles per hour, a first for a stock car. Dodge didn't build this for the streets, but they had to sell some to the public to make it legal for racing. They made it one of the rarest, most bizarre, and most effective muscle cars ever made. The Daytona wasn't just muscle, it was aerospace engineering with a license plate. It terrified Ford, rewrote NASCAR rules, and became the most outrageous thing to ever roll out of a Detroit factory. Muscle cars weren't built for comfort, they were built for logic. They were built to be felt, in your chest, in your bones, in the pit of your stomach when you stomped the gas and the world blurred around you. These 10 machines represent the golden age of American performance. Some were built for the strip, others for the street. A few, like the Daytona, were built for the sky. But all of them had one thing in common. They were loud, they were fast, and they didn't give a damn what anyone thought. Long live the muscle car.